We hear it all the time, don't we? Anger is bad.
Oh, yeah. Push it down, take deep breaths, think positive thoughts.
Right. Just get rid of it. But, I wonder if that's the whole story. I mean, think about Martin Luther King Jr.,
Hmm.
that powerful drive for change. You can't tell me there wasn't profound anger at injustice fueling that.
Absolutely. Or someone like Kobe Bryant, that intense competitiveness.
Fierce. Almost furious sometimes.
And Steve Jobs, too, right? Known for being demanding, intense. Seemed like he channeled some kind of dissatisfaction, maybe.
Yeah, dissatisfaction, maybe even anger into creating things nobody had seen before.
It's a really interesting contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Society says no anger, but look at these people who achieved incredible things, seemingly, with it.
Makes you think we're maybe missing something, oversimplifying it.
Could be. Maybe it's not about eliminating anger entirely.
Exactly. And that's what we really want to dig into today. This isn't about, encouraging rage out.
No, definitely not uncontrolled fury.
It's about understanding that actually anger carries potent energy and exploring how you can learn to direct that energy strategically
Uh-huh. To fuel your goals, get results.
without the negative fallout, without letting it control you.
So seeing anger less as a fire to just put out
Yeah.
and more like raw fuel, something you can refine.
Precisely, like a resource you can apply purposefully. Okay, so let's get into it. When you feel that anger welling up, that heat, that focus with ardor, there's actually some fascinating stuff happening in your brain.
Right. Biology is involved.
Yeah, like certain neurotransmitters get released, and they can genuinely sharpen your focus. It's almost like a laser beam, narrowing your attention.
Which can make you incredibly resistant to distractions.
Exactly, and more determined, to push through obstacles that might normally stop you.
That persistence piece is key.
Totally. And maybe the biggest thing, it triggers action. Think about it. Has anger ever really pushed you to finally do something?
Oh, definitely. That feeling of being incensed can just cut through procrastination like nothing else.
Yeah. And this isn't just like a feeling. There's brain science here, right?
Yes, we see activity shifts. The amygdala, your emotion center, lights up.
Yeah.
But it also impacts the prefrontal cortex.
Which handles focus, decisions.
Correct. So anger can literally create a biological state of heightened attention and drive.
And research backs this up too. I remember seeing studies, I think from Harvard.
There's research suggesting that, yeah, when people express anger constructively, that's the key word,
Constructively, right.
they can actually be better negotiators, faster problem solvers, even perform better under pressure.
But only if it's channeled effectively, not just raw emotion spilling out.
Exactly. It's about harnessing that focused energy, not being swept away by it.
You see it play out in different ways. Think about protest marches.
Mm-hmm. Collective anger driving sustained action for change.
Or an athlete, maybe right before a big game. That intense look.
That simmering focus, yeah. Using the fear of losing, maybe anger at doubters to fuel performance.
Even like an entrepreneur pitching an idea they really believe in.
Yeah. There can be an underlying fire there.
Right.
Anger at the status quo, or determination fueled by early skepticism.
Absolutely. So the million-dollar question becomes, how do we actually do that? How do we take this raw, sometimes overwhelming feeling
And turn it into something useful.
Yes. We've put together a kind of 4-step approach. We're calling it the anger alchemy formula.
Alchemy. I like that. Turning lead into gold. Transforming something potentially destructive into something valuable.
That's the idea. Okay, step 1. Sounds almost too simple, but it's critical. Label it. The 10-second rule.
Okay.
When you feel that anger starting to rise, just pause. Just 10 seconds. And mentally, or even say it quietly, I am angry about X. Name the feeling and the trigger.
That naming process. It does something, doesn't it? It creates a bit of distance.
It does. It taps into what psychologists call affect labeling. You're engaging the thinking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex.
Which can actually help dial down the intensity coming from the amygdala, the emotional part.
Exactly. You shift from being the anger to observing the anger.
Okay, so step 1, label it. What's next?
Step 2, redirect the energy. Your first impulse might be to lash out, maybe break something, yell.
The destructive urge.
Right. This step is about consciously shifting that energy towards something constructive. So if you're mad at yourself for being lazy,
Don't just sit there fuming.
no, channel it into a workout, a really focused one. Or if you're angry about some injustice you see,
Instead of just ranting online, maybe.
yeah, maybe start researching it properly. Write a clear argument. Find an organization working on it.
Taking concrete action.
Or feeling rejected. Use that sting to build something new. Prove them wrong. Double down on your craft.
The key seems to be finding a constructive outlet that's somehow related to the source of the anger.
Exactly. You're taking that raw power and giving it a positive direction immediately.
Okay, label, redirect. Step 3.
Step 3 is the controlled burn timer. Look, intense anger often burns bright but fast.
It doesn't usually sustain peak intensity for hours.
Right. So set a timer, maybe just 20 minutes. And for that time, go all in on that constructive action you chose.
Like a focused sprint.
Exactly. Work out hard, write furiously, brainstorm intensely. Give that energy a focused release. What you'll often find is...
After that burst, the edge is gone.
Often, yeah. The really sharp, overwhelming feeling subsides, and you can think more clearly afterwards.
It's like containing the fire, letting it burn intensely, but in a safe, productive way, not letting it spread destructively.
Precisely. Okay, final step. Step 4. The who benefits test.
A reality check.
Totally. Step back for a second and ask yourself honestly, is my anger and how I'm using it actually helping me? Or is it hurting me, hurting my relationships, holding me back?
So assessing the impact.
Yeah. If you find your anger, even when you try to channel it, consistently leads to negative outcomes for you, that's a sign.
A signal to rethink your strategy? Maybe the redirection isn't quite right, or the underlying issue needs a different approach.
It brings in that crucial self-awareness, making sure the fuel you're using is actually driving you where you want to go.
Good point. It ensures the tool remains beneficial.
And one more practical tip here. Try keeping an anger log.
Okay, like a journal.
Sort of. Just quickly note down what triggered the anger. And crucially, how did I choose to channel it?
So you track what works.
Exactly. Over time, you'll see patterns, your common triggers, and which redirection techniques are actually effective for you.
That turns subjective feelings into useful data for yourself. I like that.
Now, thinking about this anger alchemy, let's look at some people who seem to have really mastered it. We mentioned Martin Luther King Jr.
A prime example. His anger at systemic racism wasn't hidden.
Not at all. But it was transformed into incredibly disciplined, nonviolent action, demanding justice.
That anger became a powerful moral force driving strategic change, not just undirected rage.
Then think about Serena Williams.
Oh, yeah. Talk about facing pressure and, let's be honest, probably perceived slights or biases throughout her career.
Absolutely, and instead of letting that derail her...
She seemed to almost absorb it and use it as fuel. Like, oh yeah, watch this.
Totally. Propelling her to, 23 Grand Slam singles titles? You could almost see that fire powering her focus on court.
It's like those moments ignited an even deeper resolve, turning negatives into potent motivators.
And another one, maybe Elon Musk.
Interesting case. Early days of Tesla, SpaceX. Lots of doubters, right?
Huge skepticism. People saying it was impossible.
You get the sense that some of that rejection, maybe a frustration or anger at the can't-be-done attitude,
fueled that relentless drive to actually do it, to prove them wrong.
It seems plausible. In all these cases, the anger wasn't the destructive endpoint.
No, it was more like the spark, the initial ignition.
A powerful source of motivation that, crucially, was then channeled into focused, often incredibly disciplined, action.
Right. Not an uncontrolled wildfire, but a controlled burn driving the engine.
A catalyst, not the final reaction.
So how can you, listening right now, start experimenting with this? We want to propose a little 7-day anger experiment.
Nothing too complicated, just a way to practice these ideas in real time.
Yeah, just observe what happens. So here it is. For the next week, when you feel that familiar heat of anger rising, step 1 is just pause.
Don't react immediately.
Just for a beat. Resist that knee-jerk impulse.
That pause is everything. It creates that tiny gap between stimulus and response where choice lives.
Okay, step 2. In that pause, ask yourself the specific question. How can I use this energy right now to build something, not destroy something?
Frame it as potential energy looking for a positive outlet.
Reframe it in your mind. It's fuel. How can I use this fuel constructively?
Shifting focus from the negative feeling to the positive potential.
And then, step 3. Immediately take one productive action. Doesn't have to be huge.
Just one tangible step.
Right. If you're mad the kitchen's a mess, spend 5 minutes actually tidying one counter. Frustrated with a work problem, write down 3 possible first steps to solving it. Just channel that initial surge into doing something constructive.
That immediate action is key. It captures the momentum before it fades or turns sour.
Exactly. And we'd love to hear how this goes for you. If you try this out, maybe jump into the comments and use the phrase anger alchemist.
Anger alchemist, okay.
Yeah, and just share maybe one instance where you managed to transform that anger energy into something positive this week. We'll keep an eye out and maybe highlight some cool examples.
It'll be fascinating to see the different ways people apply this.
Yeah.
Everyone's triggers and effective channels will be unique.
For sure. So the big takeaway here is this: uncontrolled anger. That really is a weakness. It drains you, it damages things.
It's a liability, no doubt.
But anger that's understood, that's channeled, that's used strategically, almost like a precision tool,
That could be different.
that can be an incredible source of focus, persistence, and just unstoppable drive.
So maybe the final thought for you to consider is, how could reframing your relationship with anger change how you face challenges? What could you build if you learned to harness that fire?